Hello everyone, this is Beastly Eel here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about my predictions for the next death battle. Now for those of you who are unaware, the next death battle is going to be between, and I'm not making this up, Spongebob Squarepants versus Aquaman. But specifically Aquaman from Super Friends, and I feel like there's a reason for it, and I'm not 100% sure why, up until I did my research and I have a decent idea as to why. But still not 1,000% sure if that is the correct reason. So first things first, we're going to talk about SpongeBob SquarePants and all his abilities that he has, which is a lot, let me tell you. So obviously he's a cartoon. He can take a lot of damage, but let's talk about all of his abilities overall. He has absorbency, so he can literally absorb any liquid with his body, and when he absorbs liquid, his body expands. And supposedly he can absorb physical attacks as well. He's also considered boneless for most of the series. There is a few instances where they show that he has bones, but overall they consider him being boneless and being able to squeeze through and fit into small objects, small spaces to escape or get into places he shouldn't be getting into. He has a bubble blowing ability, which apparently he can perform extraordinary moves with his bubbles. It's considered to be his, along with jellyfishing, one of his favorite hobbies. But he can produce bombs with it. He can produce rockets. He can produce shields, people, bubble buddy, all these things, right? That he can make with his bubble blowing, which is very incredible. He's made elephants too, animals. He makes very powerful things with just blowing bubbles. He's an expert at destruction, mostly due to the fact that he just doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And because of his gullible and reckless personality, he's been known to destroy a lot of things, especially while driving. He is a culinary creativity. Basically, he can make anything that he wants out of food. He can try anything but a boatmobile, which I find hilarious. He's an expert fry cook. He's an expert in jellyfishing, which is why he has the net and everything else. He's an expert in karate, but we're going to get into this a little bit further because this fluctuates in the series, where like he's an expert fighter and then other times he's not. It's a bizarre thing. So it's like he's an expert in karate, but then it's sometimes that his body is weak. But we'll get into that later, a little later. He has limb range. He can stretch his body to incredible lengths. He can detach his limbs and create new ones without a problem, which goes into his regeneration. Any part of his body that's injured, he can pretty much heal from it and remove it, or remove the piece that is injured without any issue whatsoever. He has enhanced reflexes. He's apparently faster than lightning, being able to react to dangers instantly. He can dodge and react to projectiles and enemy attacks moving at high speeds, such as lasers, arrows, shockwaves, bullets, and even lightning itself. His sharp reflexes allow him to react to attacks outside his field of vision as well. He has incredible stamina and endurance, which I find interesting. He has super speed, which fluctuates. So there's a time where he becomes what's called the Quickster, and that's where he's the fastest he's ever is. But he's also been known to be able to be fast overall because he's been able to move faster than Patrick, and even able to chase and faster than Squidward when Squidward is chasing him in the episode of Pizza Delivery. He apparently has leadership skills, which I find very odd, especially his limited intelligence. Teleportation, now this one's weird for me because apparently they're considering it teleportation when, for comic relief, when Patrick and him are playing tag, all of a sudden Patrick turns around and then runs into SpongeBob. So definitely interesting in that. When he's been turned into a ghost, he has a bunch of different abilities, as well, including flight, ectoplasm creation, and turning inanimate objects into their said ghost objects version. Specifically, he does this when he breaks his spatula in half and is able to use it um, as a ghost, which is weird to me. And eventually he was able to put himself, eventually the Flying Dutchman put him back into his body. But that being said, he also has the inability to interact with the realm of the living as he normally would, and can pass through any object. He's apparently very sneaky. He can levitate. He's an expert climber. He's singing. And nose playing. He can play the nose like a whistle. He can also whistle. He's a comedian. He's a ventriloquist. He knows magic tricks to a certain extent. He's ice skater, roller skater, dancer, ukulele playing, guitar playing, soft, pliable body, which we already knew. He's capable of shape-shifting. It has some degree of invulnerability, being able to absorb many types of physical impacts, which we've already noticed. He's also had the ability to body part change. So this is part of his shapeshifting. Multiple body parts. He can multiply his body parts due to his regeneration to a certain degree, but it is especially true when he cooks. He can multitask. He has the ability to clone himself. He's multilingual. He's mimicry. He can mimic somebody else by shapeshifting. He has survival skills. He's able to breathe underwater. Reef blower. Oh, that's like that's when he has the leaf blower, but they call it a reef blower. And he can also surf on his tongue, and he has a magic pencil that created. What was his name? Something Bob. Doodle Bob. I couldn't think of his name. Now, some of his weakness. So he has a lack of physical strength. So he's been shown to basically have no below average physical strength, which is always weird to me because there's other times where he's able to do a lot. His other weakness is fighting, which I find weird. So like he's not able to fight well except in certain situations. Which is interesting to me. So it fluctuates. And his physical strength fluctuates as well. But overall, they're saying below average. Fighting, I would say, probably, they say is very bad at it, which I find odd. Gullibility, he's very gullible, not surprising. He's afraid of things, which is not all that shocking. And he cannot drive a boatmobile to save his life whatsoever. He is interesting overall, but he's got a lot of abilities. I'll say that. So let's move on to Super Friends of Aquaman. So he is Atlantean physiology. So he has enhanced super strength, stamina, speed, durability. He's able to go into the depths of 3,400 feet below the surface level, and because of this, his body is able to withstand extreme amounts of pressure. We also have the ability to be a telepath, but specifically for aquatic telepathy. So he can only do it to talk to undersea creatures, which Spongebob is one of them. He has animal control. He can control the minds of virtually any marine creature, forcing them to do his will to a certain degree. Hydrokinesis / water control. He's inherited the ability to mystically control water and water-based solutions for a variety of effects. He can manipulate water currents, create whirlpools, and boil or freeze vast bodies of water. Superhuman agility, superhuman reflexes, enhanced senses. He has sonar hearing, allowing him to zero in on submarines and anything else in the dark, watery depth. His other abilities include oceanography. I'm saying that wrong so bad. He basically has an encyclopedia knowledge of the ocean and its creatures. Marine biology, he's also quite familiar with the creatures in it. He is an expert in tactical analysis, advanced hand-to-hand combat, diplomacy, swimming, and leadership. Now his weaknesses are water deprivation and power limitation. He can only control certain creatures, and only if they're willing or weak enough to be able to do so. Now, the other thing, too, is I didn't mention with SpongeBob, and I should have, that he cannot be out of the water for too long to a certain degree. Same thing with Aquaman. So, who do I think is going to win? Well, let's talk about their abilities that counteract each other. Basically, SpongeBob can take any hit from Aquaman. He can also absorb all of Aquaman's attacks, because most of Aquaman's attacks are water-based. He can absorb them. Simple as that. The other thing that gets me, though, is the fact that Aquaman has better hand-to-hand combat than him overall. He's physically stronger, so that's two things on him. I believe they're probably just as fast as each other. I think SpongeBob is more durable. So here's what I'm thinking. Like, even if Aquaman could kill him, SpongeBob can still use his ghost ability and kind of beat Aquaman. I know it sounds stupid when I say that, but it's true. It's odd, but it's factual. So, like, SpongeBob's got a huge advantage here. I think with destruction and everything else, that his bubbling abilities, because his bubble abilities are not water-based, they're air-based. Aquaman would not be able to control them. He could probably counter them with water attacks, but even then, I can't imagine it being too much. But SpongeBob wouldn't need to use his bubbles to counteract it. He would just use his body to absorb it. So, based on comic, cartoon logic, SpongeBob's going to be the one that wins this. And I'm sticking with that because of his durability, because of his destructive abilities, because of his, stamina, endurance, durability, speed, his bubble abilities. Like, all of these things combined can take out Aquaman. Now, I know Aquaman can take a lot of damage, but I imagine that he does have a limit to his abilities. So eventually he's going to get beat down by SpongeBob. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, SpongeBob is weak-minded and can be controlled by Aquaman. I do to a certain extent, but I feel like it won't be enough to keep him under his control forever. So, even though he's gullible and probably do what he says, I can't imagine that he would not be able to beat him in the end. So, overall, my prediction is going to be that SpongeBob is the winner of this death battle. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I know this is a weird death battle, but I'm very curious at what you guys have to say. And if you agree or disagree, please let me know why in the comments also. And as always, if you like the content you see, please like and subscribe below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a great night.